Hi, everyone. I just wanted to make this short podcast about my battle with cancer 15 years ago. The reason I'm doing this is because my journey wasn't the normal journey. Maybe normal is the wrong word because there's nothing normal about cancer, but you'll catch my drift whenever I explain. Nearly 16 years ago, on the 14th of December 2010, I was given the news that I had stage 3 going on for breast cancer. For everyone out there who has had this diagnosis or similar, then you'll understand the shock, horror, and fear that comes with it all, as well as the horrible words like chemo, mastectomy, radiotherapy, fighting for your life. It was words I never thought I would hear. It would never happen to me. I sat in a trance waiting for someone to wake me up from the nightmare, but that was not to be. The amazing thing about it all was that only a week before I was diagnosed, I had watched a DVD, as you did back then, of a guy that spoke on health and nutrition and also about medicine and the effects of it. I was researching nutrition because a year before that I had been diagnosed with ME, chronic fatigue, and I had found that changing my diet helped a lot. This man also spoke about chemotherapy and where it originated from and how it all came about. And I remember thinking how awful it would be to be in that situation and that there's no other way and no other alternative, having absolutely no idea what was about to come my way. Um, so there I was, speechless and traumatized. The nurses, or should I say the angels at the Glenanne unit in Craigavon Area Hospital, kept in touch with me, but I didn't want to know. I needed direction in all my choices because no matter what I was being told, I believe I had choices because I had my faith and the Lord alone would direct my paths. And He did. Maybe not the way I wanted it to, but I made my decision and I told the nurse I wasn't having chemo, even though they told me I would have to have at least 8 cycles to start with before the surgery, and even more after that, as well as radiation treatment. The response was one of shock and devastation, but also no. Why no? Because I knew in my heart that wasn't the way for me to go. I found myself being more scared of the treatment rather than the cancer. However, knowing a lot of medical people all telling me, you must, a fear and dread took hold of me, and I gave in to chemotherapy. After the second, my hair fell out, and I knew that was enough for me. I'd had it, not just with chemo, but mostly with people. Now, that may sound bizarre, or to some of you, maybe not, but I understood people's intentions were for the best, but they were also a distraction. A distraction with my focus on the way I should go. There was only one voice I wanted to hear, and it wasn't people's. So I took a step back quietly and began the fight. I remember going to see the consultant the day I was due to have my third chemo, and when he asked me if I was ready, I said, no, I'm not having any more. He looked at me bewildered. Obviously, he wasn't used to hearing this, but I had such peace and confidence saying it. He replied, but you need this, Lorna. And I replied by taking his hand, looking him straight in the eye and saying, look, please don't worry. I'll be all right. Wait till you see. He then asked if I would see the surgeon. I said yes, and I did. And I immediately felt very safe and relaxed with her. So I began to fast Fasting is so good, not just for Christian spirituality, but also for the body. It clears out all the toxins and metals, starving diseases. Uh, the longer you can do it, the better. I knew from previous research never to take sugar, as this feeds cancer. Sadly, a lot of our foods contain sugar and are so unhealthy when we've processed additives, preservatives, chemicals. Honestly, when I look at some of the ingredients, I think the packaging is probably much healthier. So I juiced fruit and veg as organic as I could get. And even then, I was challenged after having a scan and the tumour had grown. So, had I done the right thing? Should I have listened to everyone else? Was I going to die? That fear and dread hit me again until those 7 words echoed in my mind. Fear not, for I am with thee. The fear left me and the fight continued. I understood surgery. I always thought how incredible it is, how very sick and sore people get better after surgery. So that day came to me. I had the surgery, and amazingly, I woke up with such a hunger. The anaesthetist came to me and asked me if I wanted pain relief, and I said, no, again, I want dinner. And this request was granted, and I will always remember the roast beef dinner followed by ice cream and jelly that I devoured. Even the tubes that were attached to me that I had dreaded didn't seem to bother me. My angel surgeon Sam told me I was healing well and I was allowed to go home the next day. I did, even with one of those tubes still attached to me, that a few days later was removed. But I was reminded that my results would be in 12 days. It was definitely not an easy 12 days. I was challenged with every negative thought. There were many tears, many dark days, many times I just wanted to give up. I looked in the mirror and this bald, thin alien looked right back. I didn't recognize her. She'd been through the wars. I'm thankful for my faith, even in those dark times when I felt so alone. I wasn't alone. When those negative voices screamed, who's going to want you now? The quiet voice said, I do. When the negative voice screamed, you're going to die, the quiet voice said, the sickness is not unto death. On the 12th of April 2011, the day before my 47th birthday, I went to see my consultant surgeon, Angel Sam, for my results. My breast care nurse from the Gnan unit was also present. My heart was beating like a drum. I sat down and she turned to me and smiled, saying, I have good news for you. You're clear of cancer, and at this stage we would recommend radiation, but I don't feel it's necessary for you. But it's up to you. Of course, I said no. I was in a hypnotic state of complete relief. She recommended I take tamoxifen for 3 years. I agreed, but I never did. Why would I? It didn't make sense. I was healed. And after looking at the side effects, I was shocked and glad I hadn't. I walked out of the room with my lovely nurse putting her arm around me and saying, you made the right decision at the right time. I will never forget those words. I knew how blessed I was to be able to leave that nightmare behind me and get on with my life. even with the odds so highly stacked against me. I'm aware that so many people don't have that privilege. And sadly, we all know someone. So, sorry. So why am I saying all this? Am I using this platform to tell people not to have chemotherapy, radiation, or not to take tamoxifen? No, I most certainly am not. It has saved people's lives. So what am I doing then? Why am I saying all this? Well, the moral of my story is that you have a choice. You know, what suits one person may not be right for another. Do your research. But I will take this opportunity to thank God for giving me these extra years. Just recently, I found out that I have another battle with cancer. I don't have the fear and dread I had before. I'm fine. I continue on as normal and enjoying where I am in life this time. I will continue to work. I will continue to write. I will have another book launch. I'm still writing a play about the Yankee. So I will be very busy. Again, I have researched and will make the choices that is right for me, which is listening to that still small voice for my direction. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I wish you all well. I wish you all health and happiness, and I really mean that. Thank you.